Christ, church for the Church of Christ. And the notes are at the back, orders and all that. It is a good guide. We have several copies that we have here for the church. We don't want you picking these up and sticking them in your pocket and running off. These are used in our Bible classes. Amen? In our Bible classes to study from English Standard Version is a very good version. We don't live in the 17th century anymore. Amen. The King James Bible is not the official Bible of the Church of Christ. It is not. You understand that? We don't live back in those days. I know that some of us grew up on the King James. If you don't have the King James, then you no. That's kind of crazy. So it's a good translation. Good notes at the back. And they are for our members here to use. Use them during the service. Use them during Bible study as well. The Bible classes that we have. So you're able to, and so we thank him for the foresight, in doing that. And I just told him, I forgot to mention, one of our baptisms, we had issues with clothing. And so he called me and said, hey, we need to upgrade our baptism clothes. And he was responsible for that as well. So, it's always good to have somebody on the lookout. Amen. You need to look out for me. Give me some more waiters. So you got my back. You got a hold in them, and I can't be getting that water on. You know what I'm talking about. So, but thank you for that, what you've done for me. Good to see Brenda here. Brenda, Joey's sister, all the way from Dallas. Good to see her. She asked me, are these the same pews that we sat on the thing? Yeah, they are. Because these just got cushions on. So I know those of you who've known her over years, you may want to see her after service in the church. All the way from Dallas. Came out for the graduation. That's great to have your sister with you. All right? That's right. All right. Let's be turning to the book of 1 Peter. Book of 1 Peter. We started this last week. Really, it was a continuation from the lesson prior to that. Knowing God. And I said we continue to help us to know the Lord a little bit better. And I know that this is a familiar scripture to many of you. But there's nothing wrong with stirring up our hearts and our minds. Or reviewing some things that we may have heard twice in our lives. I'm going to do some angling this morning. Use some scriptures as to supplement the subject. So I want to read 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 15 and 16. But as he who called you is holy, you also be holy in all your conduct. Because it is written, be holy, for I am holy. Remember last week, the lesson was, I am holy. Talking about God. Remember that? God said, I'm holy. He says, I am holy. And went on to find and identify certain characteristics and aspects about the holiness of God. Then I said we would deal with the second part of the verse. This particular Sunday morning, which we are. And the lesson here, as we look at it, you have your outline with you today as well. The lesson being holiness, a personal goal. Okay? Holiness, a personal goal. I want to just say that yes, it has to be a personal goal. Because just because you are in the church, or we're in the church, doesn't mean that we're going to automatically be holy. It don't mean that. Holy, the word is defined as dedicated, set apart for a spiritual purpose. Therefore, it is something that each person must pursue personally. Amen. Amen. You can't be holy for me. I can't be holy for you. You got to pursue it personally. Just because, again, well, I'm in the Lord's church. Well, okay, good, fine, man. That don't automatically make you holy. Okay? We need to, understand being holy, becoming holy has to do with our thoughts, our actions. Just like our Heavenly Father, who is holy. His thoughts. He has thoughts. Remember, he said, my thoughts are not your thoughts. So, yes, he has thoughts. Amen. And he has actions. Amen. The Bible tells us what actions we must take. In Romans chapter 8, the Apostle Paul says, so then, brothers, we are not obligated to the flesh to live according to the flesh. If you live according to the flesh, you are going to die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live. That's Romans chapter 8. Check it out. Verses 12 and 13. Paul's words in Colossians 3 and verse 5, he says, therefore, put to death whatever in you is worldly, sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desire, and greed, which is idolatry. Both of these passages tell us that we are to put to death the deeds of the flesh. To put these things to death does not mean that we will not be tempted. Instead, what our God is telling us is that we can kill the power and the strength of these things in our lives. Deal with it. So in this study today, we're going to look and consider how we can be holy by putting to death these sins that might have power over us and keep us from being holy. See? Because as we pursue our holiness, and it's a process,
We're going to have to tackle and subdue areas of our lives that will cause us to be unholy folk. You think you got a lot of unholy folk running around in here. Keep that. Now, just caught up in this world. They're just as worldly and carnal as ever. You see what I'm saying? And so we're going to look at some verses in the book of 1 Corinthians. I want you to be turning to 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 12 for starters. As we dive into this, how can we know right from wrong? I think that's the point that we got to cover. Yeah. How can we know right from wrong? And this is not a lesson just for children. It's a lesson for all of us adults. Well, I'll tell you, obedience is necessary. Amen. It is necessary. We got to, and that's the obvious thing, we got to start with God's will. That's what you got to do. You got to start with the will of God. And if we fail to understand this concept, then we will never put sin to death. We will never. You can talk all you want to talk. You don't understand this concept and utilize it. We'll never put sin to death. Simply, you got to start saying, hey, I'm not going to make any more excuses for myself. No, I'm not going to be blaming other folks for my problems. And I'm not going to be looking around and pointing the finger at another guy and somebody else for my faults. You see, nobody said that doing the will of God will always be easy. It's not always easy to obey. And nobody said that other folk would not put stumbling blocks in your way. Yes, they will. But it is still one's responsibility to put to death the deeds of the flesh. So how do we know what is right and what is wrong? Let me just say this, in the middle of a temptation, listen, it's not that easy to pick up the Bible and start reading. Because most of the time you ain't got it with you in the first place. See? It doesn't look wrong. I got this. Okay, let me pull out this. Eh? That's probably the last thing on your mind. And by then, it's too late. And you're presented with a decision that must be made, whether to follow through or not. Now, Bible reading can keep us. Bible study can help us. Can keep us from temptation if we apply. But we need to have a game plan. How to know right from wrong. How we can know what we ought to do when Satan puts a temptation in front of us. The Apostle Paul used some statements, some questions, and some talk in 1 Corinthians that I think can help us in our goal, in our personal goal, to be holy. And that's what we're saying. We angleize this, and use this angle. These things that he says in 1 Corinthians. If you're turning your Bibles to 1 Corinthians, and you
have it already, 1 Corinthians chapter 6. And we want to look at verse 12 for starters. And notice what he tells the church members there.
Verse 12, all things are lawful for me,
But all things are not helpful. Another version puts it, everything is permissible, but not everything is helpful. Another version may use the word expedient. Okay? And that's okay. Expedient, when you look at the word expedient, it simply means well-being in this particular context, or helpful. So you'll hear me using the word helpful or well-being. All things are lawful, and I just read in my version, but all things are not helpful. All things are lawful, but not all things are well for your well-being. That's how you deal with expedient. And understand the context of this verse and others that we'll look at. The context here is guidance for behavior. Okay? That's the backdrop. Guidance for behavior. Because when you look at the Corinthian congregation, man, they were demonstrating certain behaviors, some of which were not right and proper or for their well-being. You follow what I'm saying? And so that's why he said, all things are lawful, but not everything is going to be helpful. Okay? So, and let me just say this. Everybody in here, we behave in certain ways every day. Okay? I don't care who you are. We demonstrate behaviors every day, some of which may not be helpful for us. Okay? Well, I'm a Christian, and I'm floating on to heaven. Not with certain behaviors. Y'all feel what I'm saying? See, is it helpful? There are many things that in and of themselves are not sinful. There are places that we can go that are not sinful. There are things that we can do that are not sinful according to the Scriptures. But are they beneficial for us? Are they helpful? Huh? Simply because something is not an overt sin does not mean that what we are about to do is good for us. You got to think about that, brothers, sisters. When you make a decision in life, is this helpful to me spiritually? Is this helpful to me physically? Is this helpful to me emotionally? If we answer no to those questions, we ought to avoid. If we answer no to those questions, it ought to be avoided. Is it helpful for you spiritually? No.
Come before you feel? No. Come before you emotion? No. Then you are the Lord. You are the Lord. In Corinth, you know what we see here? We see that people were doing certain things and demonstrating certain actions that was not clearly defined as sin, and that it was okay to do. Paul says that we cannot only ask, is it sinful or not? We also need to ask if it is beneficial or helpful. All things are lawful to me. Not all things are helpful. Ask that question. Gotta ask that. That's the question. Now, we may have folk in our lives and it may not be sinful to talk to us, but they certainly are not a benefit or helpful to us spiritually. I need to say that again. We may have people in our lives that may not be sinful to talk to, but they don't benefit us spiritually at all in our lives. Listen, folk that can ruin you, ruin your reputation, we leave them alone. Leave them alone. It ain't gonna do you any good at all.
Preach.
Amen.
Preach.
You leave them alone. Y'all don't like this kind of preaching.
Come on, preacher. Preach.
I ain't trying to tell you what to do. I'm just simply trying to give you some admonition from the Word of God.
Tell it now. Tell it.
There may be things that we watch on TV that are not overtly sinful, but they can be considered as not being helpful to what we're trying to be and what we're trying to accomplish as New Testament Christians. There may be websites. See, we done graduated from TV.
Come on, preacher. Preach. Tell it. Tell
There
it.
may be websites.
Tell it. Preach.
Facebook pages.
Yes, sir.
YouTube things and ideas. See, that may not be helpful to us in a spiritual capacity at all. And we need to cut out. I know it's tempting. And it's not easy. When you by yourself. It ain't nobody around. And you look at it.
Amen.
Make it plain. Make it plain. Preach. Take your time.
All right. Listen. It's very tempting. That's why, how to know right from wrong.
Yes, sir.
You gotta ask, is it helpful? Is it helpful? Is what I'm looking at on this web, is it helpful? Is what somebody sent me, in a text, a picture of something. Is it helpful? Is it helping me at all? And if it ain't, you need to drop that thing.
Man.
Have the courage enough to drop it. You're trying to be holy, aren't you?
Man.
Everything, and look again here at verse 12 here. We read the first part of verse 12, and I'm sorry we didn't read the second part, so we'll read it now. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. Everything is permissible for me, he says, but I will not be brought under the control. That's what he is. I will be brought under the control. Question. You got to ask this question. Does it bring me under its power? This is another important question that we need to ask in our effort to pursue holiness and put sin to death. There are many things that, we call gray area things. You hear folks use that term? Right. Brother, that's a gray area. Meaning that the scriptures do not directly say such an action is sin, but we see that it can have a negative impact on folks. Well, as a child of God, we should not be brought under the power or the control of anything but the will of God. Amen. You see? And that's a tough one for folk in this generation. And for folk who are not this generation. I'm talking to you older folks. You see, there's another word that is often used to describe being under the power of something, and that's the A word. Addiction. Addiction. We ought not be addicted to anything but the will of God.
Man.
Now, if you're addicted to coke, you're addicted to heroin, you're addicted to weed, you're addicted to alcohol, then you ought not be addicted to that stuff. Don't be addicted to anything but the will of God. You're addicted to sex. You're addicted to lying. You're addicted to money. Don't be addicted to anything but the will of God.
Man.
We're trying to be holy every day.
Yes, sir.
We are to be able to give up anything that will divert our focus off of God. Now, I'm not talking about running around being a robot. But you got to learn how to use your mind. You see? You got to learn how to use your mind. Drugs, alcohol, and tobacco, and cannabis, and I know we live in a time, we got the medicinal use issue, and we can talk about it. We can talk about it now. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Is this an activity that has the ability to bring me under its power? Or develop an addiction? If what I'm doing, what we're doing has such power, then don't subject ourselves to it. Or we may become enslaved to it. Amen. You see, you gotta ask this question. You gotta look at this, because remember, these guys in Corinth, they were demonstrating certain behaviors in their lives. You know anything about Corinth? That Corinth was a city that had a lot of stuff going on in it, with folks doing dust and stuff. They had it going on, man. And Paul had to address something, because the Christians, they were living in that city, and they were seeing this stuff, and some of them were getting caught up in it, like us.
Yeah. Amen.
And then they go like most say it about. So we understand you have to make a personal choice. And it's a process. Okay? Now, I want you to turn your Bible to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Or chapter 8, I think. 1 Corinthians chapter 8. And verse 13. 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 13. And I'm doing this because sometimes, we read 1 Peter and we talk about the Bible, so we're supposed to be holy. Holy, holy, holy. Man, what does it mean? How do you do this? We deal with the hour. Chapter 8 and verse 13. And in chapter 18, and chapter 8 rather, Paul is dealing with things of the conscience. And the need to be sensitive to verse 13. Therefore, if food makes my brother stumble, I will never again eat it, lest I make my brother stumble. Paul dealt with a new thing. Well, he dealing with an issue here. Being sensitive. Does it hurt others? Does it hurt others? There are many activities, church, that we believe are innocent, pure, yet if we think long enough, we might realize that, well, maybe there's a possibility of hurting others. Paul said that he would partake in none of his liberties if doing so cause another person some hurt. What he's saying. Okay? I'm going to take it, it's going to cause hurt. There are many things that may be neutral from a moral perspective. But by engaging in that activity, we might be doing something detrimental to another. And there are a lot of activities that fall into this category. A lot of activities that fall into this category. There are a lot of activities that fall into this category. Now, I'm not nitpicking. It's a general principle. Have you ever thought about what you do may be hurtful to another? Will words that I say be offensive? Those are listening. Are words that I'm speaking hurtful to someone else and they're not even present? We can hide behind this mantle. I'm just speaking the truth about it. I'm just speaking the truth. You can hide behind that all you want to. But the majority of the time, it ain't nothing but just gossip that folk are engaging in. That hurts people when the information gets back to them. Take a side from Hey, stop talking about other people when they're not in your presence.
Amen.
Stop bashing them when they're not in your presence.
Amen.
Stop saying things about folks negatively and they're not around. You stop that mess. Because that ain't maturity at all spiritually. you got to do this.
That's right. Amen.
Hannah. Yes, I got to do that. Because people are subject to just running off at the mouth and saying hurtful things or saying negative things about other folks. And find something else to talk about. Don't come down talking about some other brother or some other sister. You don't want nobody doing that to you. And you talk about the golden. I'm not jumping on it. I'm dealing with, I'm just keeping it real, dealing with it. And really some everyday examples.
Breathe. Come on, breathe.
See, people I'm just speaking the truth. There's a lot of guys, I'm just telling you. Don't hide behind that. That's all you're doing, is hiding behind that.
Right.
Don't throw the word truth in there. And all you're doing is just gossiping
Tell us now.
and running down somebody.
Well,
Look at chapter 10 and verse 31. Chapter 10 and verse 31. Therefore, whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do all to the glory of God. You got to ask this question. Does what I do glorify God? Does it glorify God? This is another. Does it glorify God? This is a very broad statement that the apostle makes here concerning actions. And notice that there's nothing inherently wrong with inherently sinful by eating food and drinking liquids. But even still, this is not enough. We got to ask ourselves if what we're doing is glorifying God. We must do all things to show the example of Jesus in our lives. We can't do anything that will discredit the work of God or cause others to blaspheme the name of the Lord. That's right. You got to remember that the nation of Israel, they were condemned because of their actions caused the Gentiles to blaspheme the name of God. And we will also be under God's condemnation if we do things that cause others to blaspheme the name of God. Amen. I'm a Christian. I go to that church on California Avenue, and you out there, you engage in the same sinful stuff as they. Well, I ain't coming down to that church. I don't want to go there. You don't want folks doing that, do you? You don't want to run folk away from the Lord's church.
breathe.
Now, what you do and what you say and what you engage in,
Breathe. Come on, breathe.
you don't want that happening, do you? No. No, we don't. And many Christians do struggle with this. Struggle with this area. But understand this. And we looked at 1 Peter 4:11 on Wednesday night last week. Peter talks about glorifying God in all that you do. 1 Peter 4, verse 11. See? And I use an example. If we struggle, the common denominator is glorify God. Problems, issues, common denominator, glorify God. Successes, glorify God. Failure, glorify God. That's the challenge. That's the process. Now, we go to a couple of social questions. And a lot of times folks want to argue
them the gospel. You walking up in there with your eyes all red and you stumbling. You're slurring your speech.
How you going to lead them to the Lord? Huh?
I can deal with this. What are you talking about? Don't just take my thing and run out the door and say, he said, don't do that kind of stuff. Okay.
But how have we glorified God in that mind of that unbeliever? You go in and visit a person, and you smelling like what you smelling like. Huh? Don't you think that'll discredit your words?
Man.
We don't think too much about it. You want to argue up and down, just argue this.
You don't have to argue all that. Remember, at the forefront is the will of God and glorifying Him. And we have to see that it is not always about arguing how much alcohol is considered as drunkenness.
You got to look beyond those. Paul said that it will cause another to stop.
Though it may be his liberty,
He was not going to do it. And so if our actions, you say, not bring honor to God's name, then get back. Get that off back. Okay?
our actions hurt others,
Leave it alone.
the action's going to bring me under the control of it.
I got to avoid it.
And so finally here, what we got to do, we need to make a personal commitment, and that means, when you make a personal commitment, that's time to get serious. That's time to get serious. You make a personal, that's time. That's a time to get serious. See,
Let me throw this at you. A lot of times people get caught up in the just one more time syndrome. They justify their actions by saying, this just won't be the last time. This is just one more time. There's just one more lustful look, just one more time, one more lie, one more deception. There's just one more word of gossip, just one more. And then it just goes on and on and on. And you keep on till you're under the control of that thing. Turn your Bibles to Proverbs 27, verse 21 to show you something. Proverbs 27 and verse 20. This is for those who get caught up in that one more time syndrome. See it there? You want to highlight this. The
Bible says that Sheol and Abaddon are never satisfied, thing that you're doing, the more you feed it, the more it's going to grow. And it will destroy you. See, that's where the thing of addiction. It'll destroy you. Okay? So whatever you might be fooling with, up here, out there, and it is bringing you under control, taking you away from God. Listen, you gotta show up and jump. You gotta make a personal decision to reject that mess.
Amen.
And be holy. See? Every time we say yes to temptation, listen, we make it harder. We make it harder to say no the next time.
Amen.
Amen.
Every time we say yes to temptation, we make it harder for us to overcome this thing in our lives.
Amen.
Longer we continue in a sin, the worse we make it for ourselves in trying to get out. Paul says, what shall we say then? Romans 6. Shall we continue in sin, that grace may abound? God says, no, you don't continue in sin.
Amen.
That's what you got to do. You don't continue. And listen, we all gonna sin. You smile saying that. We all gonna sin. You don't want to continue in practicing.
Amen.
No.
True.
Paul says, no, you don't do that. God forbid you to do that.
Right. Amen.
There's no hope for a person who's continuing in sin. There's no hope. Okay? And so, we got to make it our aim. If we want to be holy, church, we got to make it our aim to not fall into the practice of sin. Never saying just one more time. We need to make it our focus to cut it off. And too often, a lot of people, it's just one little thing, one little thing, or one little thing becomes one whole thing. And that little thing becomes one whole thing. We got to make our aim to not do this, because you got to remember who you are at war with.
Yes.
Mothers, you are at war with Satan.
Amen.
Fathers, you are at war with Satan. Children, young people, you are at war with Satan. He's trying to wreck you. He's trying to destroy you. And he does not want you to make any progress spiritually.
Amen. Amen.
You see? The goal for us then is to avoid the fiery darts of Satan at all costs. At all costs. Brothers and sisters, we have a responsibility to make the choice. Preachers can preach all day and all night. But if you don't make the choice,
Amen.
you don't make the right choice, then it's on you.
Amen.
Holiness. A personal choice. I want you to leave today understanding that it's a personal choice that you got to make. Everybody say, Anthony. Everybody say, I am. Who's going to make that choice? I am. Who's going to make that choice? I am. Who's going to make that choice? I am.
You didn't say
Saturday night.
I am. I'm going to take it.
Saturday night. Hey, listen. You're making it now.
Yes, sir.
To choose not to choose is
Come, if you're not a child of God, by faith, repentance, confession, baptism. Baptism adds you to the Lord's church. God gives you the gift of the Holy Spirit. You become our brother or our sister in the Lord. We encourage each other. We all try to make heaven.
When we walk with the Lord in the light of His word, oh, what a glory He sheds on our way. Oh, while we do His
Good will.